November 16th, and I don't have much of a voice right now because I explained in another video that focuses on various forms of torture against me committed by the United States government, that I am being actively tortured, and it's specifically targeting my neck and my vocal cords and my ear. This area right here, which they had implanted something either through my ear or through the tracheotomy they did through my neck. And they put something up here under my jaw, and then they used some kind of a technology at times to punish me with that would cause my jaw to puff out and then slowly go back, and then puff out and slowly go back. And they would make fun of me and call me a bullfrog, and bring over all kinds of government individuals to see what was happening to me and to laugh about it. So when they did that kind of torture to me, usually it was threats about not talking. This is when I was a kid, like age 6 to 8 approximately, or earlier. Say definitely from age maybe like 5 to 8, somewhere around there. I was younger, and then it continued for a while. But if I ever started trying to talk or make a report about some of the things the government was doing, they would do this torture to me, and make fun of me, have my neck going back and forth, and calling me the frog princess, making fun of me about being a princess, and saying if I didn't kiss somebody, or if somebody didn't kiss me, I was just going to end up being a frog my entire life, and I was going to be tortured. So supposedly I had to keep my mouth shut and let whoever wanted to kiss me, kiss me. So it's basically like a perverted form of that Ariel song, Kiss the Girl, with all the bullfrogs jumping out of the lake, surrounding them. That was going on, and it wasn't the worst form of torture that was used against me either. So I said in my last sort of introduction to torture and how the United States conditioned me and tried to condition me to looking like I was accepting being raped, so that in the future when they raped me, they wouldn't look like rapists and they could get away with it. That started when I was a baby. And it's pretty hard to believe that the United States government is so corrupt that they take a little baby and just start raping this baby. You know? With a number of individuals. And then develop a strategy, a premeditated, planned out strategy for how they were going to get away with it. And one way they were going to get away with it is by implanting all kinds of strange objects into my body, so that if I ever talked about anything, they would target me with their technology, and it would sound so unbelievable, no one would believe me, and I'd just sound like I was crazy. So therefore then, they felt they were safe. Another way that they tried to protect themselves from being prosecuted for their egregious crimes against me was to spend an enormous amount of time conditioning me and quote-unquote grooming me to look like I accepted rape. And even if, so basically they would rape me, and when I was a baby, and even a toddler, and I tried to resist being raped, they would keep raping me, and then they would torture me. They'd use guns held to my head, tell me they were going to kill me, and they would shoot things first. Like, they'd kill something like an animal, and then let me see that it was dead and bleeding and injured, and then they'd put the gun to my head, and they would use that as a form of forcing me to pretend like I was going to go along with this rape. And the other thing they used was knives. They used knives and bodily force to also intimidate me and to beat me up. They used to punch out my teeth or pull one of my baby teeth out that wasn't ready to be pulled with pliers. And then just say, oh, it's just a baby tooth that naturally fell out. And it didn't fall out in its own timing. They had pried it out of my mouth. I was punched in the face. I was hit with pans, like heavy objects in the back of the head. And they used electrical forms of torture against me. If I didn't go along with being raped, then some United States government person who had experience in electronics or electricity would use their skills on behalf of the United States government to torture me by remote means with military technology to target me to implants they actually surgically placed into my body. I had a number of surgeries done against me where I had objects put into my body to help facilitate that. But in addition to that, they used more visual, tangible kinds of things that anyone could see was on the outside surface would harm someone or be hurting them. For example, using some kind of not a generator box. Well, a generator was also used at times. They would supercharge a generator, get some kind of electrical cords like that you use to jump a car with, with the two different things that you put on the battery, and then you charge that battery and you try to start this car. Well, they did that to me. They also they would put basically a metal brace around my head that was made out of aluminum, and it was pretty heavy aluminum, but aluminum is very electrical conductive, and it had these screws on the sides, and they would tighten it because it was adjustable. So they would tighten it with pliers to either side of my head, approximately right about here is where they had those the nuts or the bolts with the nuts or whatever it was. And then they would, in the early forms, before they had this other kind of box that they used that didn't attach things to those, they were sometimes then using car battery clamps that you use for putting onto a battery, and they were attaching it to these clamps on my head, and then turning on a form of electricity and charging this electricity to my brain. And it was extremely painful. And that was also, that kind of technology was used to torture me if I resisted being raped or did something they didn't like or talked about something they'd done to me. The other thing that they did was genital torture, where they would force me to lie on the ground. They'd put like water on my, pull my pants down, put water on my vagina or another part of my body, and they'd sometimes, you know, like a oil stick that you use to test your car, where you insert it into the oil tank and then you pull it out to see how much oil you have. Use a stick similar to that, which is also something that was similar to what they used in my neck when they when I had some individuals puncture my neck with a tracheotomy thing and then brand it with some kind of a metal stick. Well, they were using some other kind of a metal stick or prodder that they would insert into my rectum, and then they would turn on this electricity, this form of electricity, and basically electrocute me to my rectum. They also would electrocute me to the vagina. And all of those things were done, those kinds of things were done to me, you know, if I tried to resist. Other times I even tried to go along, you know, eventually because that's what they wanted. And I was trapped as a kid, especially. With, tried to pretend, and I'm not sure what happened this one time, but I don't know what I did to make them mad, or if they just decided they were just going to do it because it's just something they were going to do. But on a couple of different occasions, they would take objects like a gun, the barrel of a gun, or some other kind of object, and just begin raping me, like violently and viciously, inside the vagina or into the rectum with a very hard object. And that is in addition to their rape of me with their own body parts. But when I was being raped with a gun and with pipes, like these small pipe-shaped things, you know, the way they did it was they were taking these, you know, for example, like, it's just a marker here that I have. They were taking something like that, and then they were just jamming it. I mean, I'm telling you, it wasn't like they were slowly, methodically, which they did that kind of torture too, harming me inside the vagina. They were jamming their FBI guns and other government guns into my vagina. And then because the FBI is so corrupt and was participating, was a full-time participant in all of these things against me, later when I was older and I tried to tell people about it, I started getting, I was being taken to the FBI offices, which actually I'd been taken to their offices off and on my entire life. But all of a sudden I realized I was getting taken to their offices, you know, as a preteen, to be tortured. And have them watch me be tortured, and then and they wanted me to think about the fact that yes, I was being tortured by them, and they were all going to lie about it. And it's going on 14 minutes right now. So I described some of the forms of torture that they used, but I want to be more specific about exactly some of the things, their exact techniques and programming methods that they used and repeated multiple times. And they were very specific. It wasn't just like some random thing. They used specific strategies for harming me. And I will basically, like with triggers and little code words they would use and things to basically let me know that if they said something or that trigger came up, that I could expect to get harmed, to get beat up.